Welcome, Dragon Ball fans, to Further Beyond Dragon Ball DAIMA. My name's Greg Dorr, and with me, as always, is my co-host, King Hitman.
This guy, he's the hype man now. I thought I was the hype man. Now he's got
Hey,
all the energy, man. I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm definitely ready to get into this, Greg. Let's see how we start this off, man. Let's get straight into it.
yeah. So just quickly for those listening, this is episode 0 of Further Beyond Dragon Ball DAIMA. This is the preview episode. The series isn't out yet. We're recording this about a month in advance in the lead up to episode 1, which is going to drop on the 11th of October 2024. As always, there's a plethora of preview material that is released in anticipation to build a little bit of hype over series like this. With Daima, there have been several teaser trailers. The other day, they've released an official trailer. So, out of all of that, what have you gone through and watched in the lead up to Daima?
Uh, I believe I've watched two of them.
Two. So, yeah, okay. I think I'm the same. I watched the teaser trailer and then the one that came out a few days ago, which is, I think, the official trailer.
Yeah, that sounds like where I'm at too.
Yeah, I tried to. I mean, I think we're probably very similar then by the sounds of it. But tried to stay away from too much. I really wanted to go into this series blind. I was going to watch it no matter what, so it wasn't going to take any trailer to sort of to sell me on it. But I think Akira Toriyama did a little bit of a synopsis. I think you might have it there if you want to read that off for us.
All right, cool. So, starting the quotes, quote unquote, well, it's a full paragraph. Hello, I'm Akira Toriyama. I'm currently working on a new Dragon Ball. The title is Dragon Ball Daima. Daima is a made up term which in Japanese characters would translate to a certain kanji, which I cannot read Japanese. And or in English would be something like evil. So in a way the title is Dragon Ball Evil. Back into the quote. Due to a conspiracy, Goku and his friends are turned small. In order to fix things, they'll head off to a new world. It's a grand adventure with intense action in an unknown and mysterious world. Since Goku has to make up for his petite size, he uses his Nyobo power pole to fight something not seen in a long time. I came up with the story and settings, as well as a lot of the designs. I'm actually putting a lot more work into this than usual. Things will unfold that close in on the mysteries of the Dragon Ball world. Hope you all enjoy these different from usual battles that are cute and powerful. End quote.
Well, obviously Akira Toriyama has passed. I'm really glad that we got obviously that quote, but also his involvement in this series. It's going to be really cool. What
Mhm.
do you reckon? What do you reckon? What do you take away from that?
When I look at it, the first question we ask with any new Dragon Ball product is when does it drop? And then the second question is how much of it is gonna be true to, the story, how much of it is gonna be true to Akira's envision, like what he looked at and what he wanted from his art and what he wanted from that aspect of telling his story. So when I saw it, I was like, damn, I knowing he's very hands on with it, and he's literally saying he has more on it than he usually has the last I guess decade plus. Definitely excited to see how he wants to tell his story.
If I could point anything out, and it's probably the least obvious part of that entire quote, is that we're bringing back the power pole. Honestly, that gets me so excited. I want a little bit
Yeah.
more weaponry in Dragon Ball for a while. Like we've had a lot of swords, I guess, in recent times with Trunks and even Janemba and things like that. But I just thought the power pole, pardon me, was really fun. I just think it's an interesting weapon or item for Goku to use. So I'm really glad that that's coming back. I'm even looking at the Dragon Ball fandom wiki where that quote from Akira Toriyama's come from. There's that little post there that says "Welcome to the Dragon." Sorry, welcome to the Demon Realm. So it looks like that's kind of going to be the rough setting of things. And I imagine it's a little bit of demon magic that makes everyone turn into children, as we see in the trailer.
Oh, I never even thought of it like that. That's actually, yeah, you're probably right. I was wondering what would even turn them into these mini me's. Like they're going by the term mini. So it's like Goku mini,
Oh, okay.
some Shin mini. I don't know a lot of these newer characters. Like I said, I've been avoiding the trailers besides that teaser trailer and the official one that dropped about a week and a half ago, or a couple, well, shoot, less than a week ago from the time of this recording. I was wondering what would cause that. So that was one of my main questions.
Well, yeah, it's. I mean, there's going to be the obvious, I guess, parallels to GT in that, well, at least Goku, but obviously in this sense, the entire cast is being, made mini, as you say. So I think they're trying to differentiate themselves by not having it be a wish from the dragon, I think, possibly.
That makes a lot of sense. I get that. I was contemplating all the ways they could have gotten about this, and that makes the most sense. Them entering the realm, and that's like the state that you have to be in to maybe to
Oh,
navigate, maybe to get around here to here without dropping a massive level of energy, or maybe your body will suffer from being in this non-mortal realm.
so you reckon it's like you go into one room and you're a mini, and then you just go back through the door and you're normal?
Oh, it could be that for
I don't
sure.
know.
I could
That the
see
way
it
you were
being
talking
either
then, I
one.
was like, oh, you reckon it's like a go through the portal and you're a mini me, but come back through the portal into the real world and you're just normal again. See, I was thinking more
Yeah,
spell. I was thinking like, oh, I've cast this, like kind of like the Dragon Balls, I guess, but it's more like demon magic, and they've got to find a cure as opposed to just kind of re-wish themselves back or whatever the case might be.
yeah. Because one thing about Akira, his like explanation of how his world was built is it's like we've seen it all one way or another at this point. It's like a globe, and then within the globe there are like the clouds for other world. There's Earth. There's like Beerus's little planets and whatnot. Like they're arbitrary godly dimensions. And I'm wondering if maybe they're on the opposite side of the clouds for this one. Maybe it could be something like
Oh,
that. And being, once you pass that certain boundary, now you're in the demon realm. And that's what, because we've always tried, I'm not particularly, maybe I'm misremembering or forgetting something, forgetting where the demon realm is at. So I don't know. What are you thinking about, like where it could be placed at? Or do you think it's somewhere in Universe 7, like directly on that
I
top
don't.
side? I'm not sure.
I don't think we're dealing with other universes at all. I think this is going to be very contained in that sense. Like I guess it's going to feel very separate from Dragon Ball Super,
Hmm.
which obviously now is pretty well, at least for the majority of the part. Like it had the Universe 6 vs 7 tournament, and then the Tournament of Power with a couple of fillers in between where they jumps between universes. Where I don't think that's happening. And I'm looking at that poster again, and Goku's riding a dragon thing with Supreme Kai, who's also mini,
Yeah.
which kind of makes me want to ask the question: how, if at all, powered down do you think they're going to be? Because we also saw Goku transform into a Super Saiyan in that latest trailer, so we obviously are doing transformations to some degree, but just seeing him riding a flying beast, I'm wondering if they're going to try the no fly rule again. I mean that was meant to be in play for the Tournament of Power, but
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know
Yeah.
how strict they were with that by the end of it all.
Yeah, I like that idea. I was looking at it and I didn't even contemplate that the idea of a no-fly zone, maybe in the demon realm in its entirety. I was thinking about the idea of you're stating what is going to be the limitations of Goku's body when he's in this miniature state. Maybe it's one thing about GT that was like emphasized later in the series before he became Super Saiyan 4 was the cap that you're talking about right
Yeah,
now
yeah, yeah,
when he
yeah,
would enter Super Saiyan 3. Maybe he's not able to enter those godly states. Like, well, maybe we don't, or maybe we won't for at least a dozen episodes or so. See, like mini Super Saiyan God Goku, because he enters Super Saiyan 1. He also it's a little frame or two. Like he enters Super Saiyan 2 also. So maybe it's Akira's way of toning them back down to making sure the basics of the Super Saiyan states are emphasized in this series. And that's how Goku's going to progress before he reverts back to his full, normal 50
yeah,
year old man state.
yeah. Well, that's something I prefer because I mean, Dragon Ball's tried a fair few different ways now to like uh, put a ceiling on the power scaling, or bring everyone back onto level terms almost. Most notably in like, even though it's a game and it's not canon or anything, but Fighter Z or Fighter Z, whatever you want to call it, did a very good job of that and being like, hey, look, there's a virus or whatever, and everyone's basically just on the same level, no matter what your form. And obviously, it works for a fighting game, so that there's an excuse to be like, oh well, why would Yamcha be fighting perfect form Cell on level terms, I guess. But
I can't wait until Sparking Zero comes out,
oh,
man.
it's gonna
I'm
be
so
so good.
ready.
It's so good. The other thing as well, being a demon realm, do you think it will have an effect, or will there be a notable effect on God Key? Do you think they'll just be straight up like, oh, God Key can't be used here? It's the demon realm, no gods allowed, or
I think that's exactly what it could be. It could be, hey, yo, we're just, I mean, maybe Shin Supreme Kai. Maybe Shin is like neutralized. Maybe he's not as capable as he usually is. So some of his hacks and abilities aren't working because God Ki is neutralized. Maybe, like he's done some real cheesy things. Maybe Goku, it was an emphasis on Super Saiyan states one and two. Maybe Goku just can't tap in or he can't focus or his key isn't at peace the way it usually is to enter those upper states. So yeah, I definitely think so. I I'm intrigued, bro. I'm really excited to see how they handle transformations because a lot of people have been asking for a long time to refocus on the lower
yeah.
level state. Not, they're not lower to us, right? But like the lower level states of Super Saiyan.
Well, I guess the foundation levels, I guess that first ascension
Yeah,
of being like that was. I mean, it's an iconic moment for a reason because it was like, oh, we finally got it, and then it just didn't take too long for it to kind of be superseded and things got a bit out of control.
yeah, completely agree.
On the topic of Supreme Kai, though, we do see another Supreme Kai who honestly doesn't look too different to the Supreme Kai that we know. I would imagine
Yeah.
that he's some sort of an antagonist, this new Supreme Kai. But do you read much into like his appearance? Because I know during the Tournament of Power when we saw the corresponding universes, Supreme Kais, and even Zamasu who and Gawasu who are the same sort of thing, they all have a really kind of. I mean, they all have a similar look, but a very unique look,
Yeah,
I guess.
they all look like family. It's really funny. I love the theme. The gods of destruction outside Beerus and Champa all are fairly distinct, well, very distinct. And then you look at the Supreme Kais and the angels, and it's like, well, the angels all have the same parents. And then you look at it, the Supreme Kais, and it's like maybe they just literally grow off trees. Like I don't know much about the lore of the Supreme Kai. Maybe
I'll be
they'll
honest, neither do
they'll
I.
dive into this. Yeah, maybe they'll dive into it for this one.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. And honestly, that'd be pretty good. I'm looking. All right. Speaking of like who they're going to be, possibly relating things to and all that kind of thing. We're dealing with the demon realm. Deborah and or any of the other kind of who else have we got? We got is it Toa is his sister,
Yeah,
who's more of a kind of a non-canon for lack of a better term, but like that Xenoverse kind of Dragon Ball
yeah,
Heroes realm of things.
extended universe for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Do you think they're gonna be relevant? Surely Deborah gets at least a mention.
you'd have to. You would definitely because this is another time where it's like we've wondered where or how the demon realm operates. So it's clearly made understood. Like it's not exactly hell. So you look at it like this isn't HFIL. So where is it? What is it? And if he's the king of it, after all these
Oh,
decade,
that's
well,
right. He's
at
the
the time,
king.
just
Yeah,
years, right? But after all these years of Piccolo, Daimo stating, "Yo, I am the Demon King," and he's saying, "No, it's actually me," and he kind of was disrespecting my title in a way. Like that's
yeah,
how it
yeah,
comes
yeah.
off. Now you look at it and say, "Oh, okay, how much is he gonna be involved in it?" And for that matter, like you're saying, Toa being involved, Mira being involved. This new character, with the blue skin and white hair that's in the spaceship on the cover you're referring to, he resembles Mira pretty heavily. So that's another aspect. The light blue skin, the white hair. How is, if at all, is he related to them, and how are they going to dive into that? Do you have any theories on who this little bro in the spaceship is?
Well, no, because I hadn't really thought about it. But the only thing I'd say to that, because you brought up Mira and his resemblance, I guess, is that we've noticed that it's almost like a bit of a Star Wars kind of rule. Almost is that they're not super afraid to take things that aren't in continuity, like definitively aren't in continuity anymore, and bring them back with a small twist in a way to sort of give a nod to the character that is no longer in continuity, but to also attribute them to and give them the respect to bring them back
Yeah.
into the comic. Like look at Kale for example with the Broly
Yeah.
kind of, like that's what I've got in my mind of like, hey look, we know that there is no Broly anymore currently, at least during the Tournament of Power, but we know you all like them. Here is basically the legendary Super Saiyan from another universe and all the resemblances. Whether or not they've gone, hey, we kind of really like Mira. We don't want to, you know, bother with.
Discard them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you're
or
exactly right. We don't
recreate
want.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to go. Okay, what he is for most part. Let's just take bits and pieces of this, and then then we've got our own foundation without contradicting anything or disrespecting what the character is in other corners of the franchise, I guess. But I guess
Hmm.
that's the only thought I had off the back of you saying he looks a lot like him, and I didn't really think too much about that. Um, but I mean, what do you reckon?
I think he's like some sort of Boba Fett. Like so, like you said, Star
Oh,
Wars. That
bounty
just
hunter.
clicked in my head. That makes perfect sense. I was like, he's about to say bounty hunter, isn't it? That would be perfectly like that just innately makes you cool. I can't explain it, but if you know, you know. Once you say Boba Fett, it's like the coolest aspects of Star Wars get brought up, or like you feel the aura. I guess as the kids say nowadays. So if he plays that sort of role, maybe he's like, yo, I'm only here
Mm.
like so I can get paid. Like I'm here for the bag, or maybe I'm here because this is personal, or I got a vendetta, and that's the only reason I'm aiding Goku. Or maybe at certain points in the series, he's getting in the way of Goku and Supreme Kai because he doesn't want them to achieve something. Who knows? I don't. When I was looking at the trailer, I saw moments where he didn't seem like he was the enemy, but who knows? Maybe he plays the anti-hero role. But yeah, I'm really interested in him as a character. I think he's gonna be a fan favorite pretty quickly.
Well, funny you say that he doesn't look super threatening or evil or whatever the case might be, because I'm still looking at this poster, and I feel like there's a lot in that interests me, but I feel like none of them look particularly nefarious.
Sinister,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like maybe there's a transformation or an absorption or one of the classic things to come. But and I'm wondering, and bringing up Deborah, kind of circling back to that, I'm wondering what might set this adventure into what starts this adventure for us to jump into, because if it's going to be set primarily somewhere else, there has to be a reason for everyone to come there, if that makes sense. It's not like Cooler rocking up to Earth because that's where Frieza was killed and that's where the person who killed Frieza is. He's like, well, I'm going to come to you and I'm
Hmm.
going to mess you up because you're the person I'm coming for. Assumedly,
Yeah.
the people or the threat or whatever the case might be, the plot happens elsewhere and they are simply a threat. Kind of like Janemba, I guess, to a point where he is just simply a threat that's happening, and
And it
Goku
affects
and
everyone.
friends, yeah, Goku and friends are the ones who are being asked to help in that regard. And I'm wondering if maybe they might, because I don't know this for sure, and I'm sure someone will correct me, but I think this is not set immediately after Dragon Ball Super ended. But
That is a
regardless,
great question.
so I'm
That
wondering
is.
if the plot or the moment that sets this plot is that maybe when Deborah was killed or when he left the demon world on the back of Babidi mind controlling him and whatnot, whether there was a power vacuum that was left.
Oh, let him cook. Go ahead. Go
You know what I mean?
ahead.
Like, yeah, just be like, hey, look, the king is dead. You know what I mean? Like, straight up, the king is dead,
Yeah.
and maybe there was maybe the Supreme Kai that lost out to this Supreme Kai in the hierarchy or the application process. Maybe he's a little bit bitter, and he's like, well, you know what? I was gonna be God, but now I'm, seeing as there's a throne free, I'm gonna go down and take this one. I don't know. I'm wondering because I feel
Yo,
like it
let him
does have
go.
to
Let
be.
him go crazy.
I don't know. I just feel like it has to be irrelevant to the Z Fighters or Goku and friends. I just because to bring Shin into it, I feel like he's the one rocking. Kind of like the Majin Buu saga almost. Like they weren't necessarily relevant to Babidi until Supreme Kai showed up and was like, "Hey, just so you know, there's this dude who's gonna like bring back this other dude who's gonna mess everyone up. We know you're strong, so do you want to give us a hand?" And they're like, "Yeah, all right, whatever. Yeah, we can give you a hand." Um, but I'm loving the
Yeah, I
adventurous
like
feel to all
this.
this.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that
like
dragon. I
it's
love it.
yeah, it's yeah, exactly. As you look into the background of that art, you see the different I guess environments that they're gonna be discovering and traversing. So you immediately know that he's setting a tone. Like whatever the goal is, they're gonna be doing a lot to get to it, or just going through a lot of different spaces and areas. I'm loving it because one thing Dragon Ball can do is set a vibrant background. So I want to see how
Yeah,
they do it.
yeah, like Namek and all the rest. And I think
Yup,
I do
exactly.
feel a little bit afraid, and I mean it's only because you and I are quite front and center in a lot of the social spheres of Dragon Ball fandom. I am slightly afraid that there's going to be a force. I mean, it's kind of inevitable, but pardon me, that comparison to Dragon Ball GT that we brought up earlier, I think it's going to extend a little bit past the fact that everyone's going to be a little bit pint sized. I Dragon Ball GT initially wanted to do that to tribute the original series of Dragon Ball, and to extend from that, they wanted at least the first saga, the Black Star Dragon Ball saga, to be more of an adventure, not to just be, hey, here's a bad guy, here's the fight,
Yeah,
push back, let's see who's stronger, rah rah. They traveled the universe in search of these Dragon Balls, so it was an adventure to find the Dragon Balls. There may not be the adventure to find the Dragon Balls, but I think the adventure part of things is going to be very, very present. I think that's a huge thing that Akira Toriyama's probably pushed. Go back to his roots, make Goku a kid again, have him go on an adventure. And I think another thing we will probably see because of Toriyama's involvement is a lot of gags. I think this will be very
yes,
comedy
for sure.
centric, which is
For
probably not
sure.
the
It'll
way
be very,
GT
very.
was so much. So not that comparison so much. But I think it's going to possibly divide the fandom a little bit because I know obviously in the West we were introduced to this through Z to start with Dragon Ball Z, and it was all big flashy fights and punch-ons and look, love it, we do. That's what got us into it. But I think this is going to be a little bit more of a love letter to Dragon Ball, and less of a love letter to Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super in general. So yeah, what do you reckon about
Completely
that?
and fully agree. I I completely and fully agree. I think that's the tone that they want to set. I think they want to make sure, for people that will get it, will automatically appreciate the story that or the undertone that's being set, and then people that don't, hopefully they warm up to it. They might not be truly used to it anymore, but then or maybe they don't know it at all and they'll learn that aspect of Dragon Ball, learn that aspect of what he envisioned for his story. And I want that. Like I want them to be able to I don't want to say it as if they can't tell a story like without or with violence, but like if they tell the story and not every episode is based around it, clearly we're gonna have our combat scenes here. There, I'm probably like Goku fighting in a bar or something like that, something random. But just the idea of being able to tell that story based on the adventure that you're emphasizing right now, I want it. I want that. I'm very excited to see that, and it seems pretty obvious that that's what they're going for.
Well, it's funny you bring up the violence and the possible backseat of it. Or not the violence, but the combat and everything. Obviously, they're bringing back the power pole, but they also showed Vegeta with a bit of blood on his face in the trailer. I know
Hmm.
it's only a drop of blood, so everyone can be like, "Oh, calm down, man. It's only like a drop of." But like, I bring that up because Dragon Ball Super notably has none, and that's a censor. That's a censorship thing.
Yeah,
It's not like, oh, we're make. It's a ratings thing. So they've deliberately held back on the more obvious blood and everything like that, so that they can have a more child friendly rating system, so that they can air it at times which might bring in a bigger audience. And it's funny that they're bringing it back for what is seemingly a little bit more of a kid friendly looking series this time around.
I see it. And one thing, it's like blood in Dragon Ball is like in wrestling. Like as soon as you see a drop, you already know all hell is about to break loose. So even when people see it in those small spurts, like you're saying, it'll set the tone. It'll make it understood that like, yeah, we're having fun around here. But y'all have been asking for years for it to be, Dragon Ball Super Broly and superhero were definitely they weren't graphic, I guess is the word, but they gave us a little bit of that. So seeing it here and there for Dragon Ball, definitely it's a tone setter. I can't really find any other word or any other term to give it, but it's a
Yeah,
tone setter.
it creates a wider scope of like stakes, I guess. if everyone's just getting like battle damage, which is like that the lines that indicate kind of scratches, yeah, sure they're getting beaten up, but to go back to the Buu saga when Goku and Vegeta are like locked arms and like head-butting each other and there's just head head blood coming from it. It's like, dude, these guys are
Hmm.
like they're pushing the limit. That's a very Dragon Ball term. It's like they're pushing the limits of what they can do. Now, I don't want to go for too long. Our usual episodes will probably only go for about half an hour here. There is one more point I did want to bring up with you before we kind of wrap things up and give our final thoughts. The episode count. According to the interview with Daniel Castaneda, who is a Toei Animation Latin America's licensing director. I apologize if I got that name wrong. My pronunciations are horrible. I have an
We
Australian accent,
apologize for
so
any and all of those
uh,
from now on, because please,
yeah,
I will do it
we will
too,
do
bro.
our best. But yeah, apologies for now, past, present, and future for any pronunciations. But Daniel Castaneda, has hinted at a 20 episode run. So that's not super long. That's I guess what you'd call a
Yeah.
standard season by normal television kind of. At least back in the day, like Smallville and Supernatural and them. I think they were only like 24 episode seasons, but they were seasons. I don't know whether or not this is a season or whether it's a full series, but 20 episodes is. What do you think about that?
Like you're saying, for us, like as consumers, it feels like, damn, it's not gonna be enough, especially for the way anime is, of Dragon Ball, especially, but like the way anime is portrayed, we're usually looking at least 100 episodes. So it's like the standard of when you hear an anime is coming out, unless it's like a new franchise, right? A new um, realm or corner. You're like, oh, okay, we're gonna get triple digit episodes for sure. Like I'm gonna be able to watch this for over a year on end, if at least that. But with Daima, it seems like the point is it's a fun mini adventure. Like they're almost holding us over, which makes me ask. I have to. I'm sorry. I don't want to look too far forward, but it makes you ask. Okay, if they're holding us over, what's down the pipeline that we're gonna be seeing in a couple of years? Not to be greedy. I'm just saying it makes you look at it. So 20 episodes, while it can tell a story, and I trust that it absolutely will, and it will absolutely answer questions and give us things about the lore and expand on a lot of characters that are going to be in the show. It's specifically, once again, I just am really curious about the Supreme Kais because I don't want to yank this from the wrong corner and I'm completely misconstruing or misremembering. But the Supreme Kais, I think, grow on trees. Like, I want to say it's somewhere in the back of my mind. They literally grow
Yeah,
on trees
I
and
think
then
I've
they
read that
grow
as
up
well,
from
but I've
there.
got no idea.
Yeah.
I've got no
So
idea.
if they reiterate that or expand on that idea that is very interesting, I don't want to call it far fetched, but it's very interesting if it's true, then things like that'll be just, it'll be dope. And, it affects the whole franchise. So when you have 20 episodes, like I said, it's still a lot of quality and a lot of animation. So it'll give us a lot of moments to be able to look back upon.
I'll quickly reference the expansion of the Supreme Kai law as we are theorizing it could be. I would go the opposite of you. I'd say don't expand on it. It's ridiculous. There is nothing specific
Mm.
about it. Don't think about it too much. It's insane, and the more you think about it, the more insane it gets. Don't touch it. Just say they're here. Yeah, they grow on trees. Where's the tree? Out the back. Where there's no tree, out, it doesn't matter.
Out
Like,
the
like
back.
don't even like. Sometimes things just need to be ridiculous, and like there's the classic saying in fiction. It's like just don't think about it. Just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Something just is, and the
Yeah,
more
don't
sense you
open up
try and
the
make
rabbit
it,
hole. Don't
yeah.
can of worms and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
But I think
I
20
get that.
episodes is, to me, probably one of the most positive things, other than the things I've already mentioned in terms of like the tone and everything, because I feel like at least with Dragon Ball Super, which is outside of the movies, the last thing that we saw, I would argue that there was a noticeable difference in quality, like the range in animation
Yes,
quality between the best episodes and the worst was way too wide. Way
totally
too
agree.
wide. I much prefer them to tell me they're giving me less of a consistently better quality than more of a wide ranging quality, to be perfectly honest. So I think that this indicates not only a better quality visually, they've got ample time to work on a very specific block of episodes that are going to be start to finish, make it as perfect as possible. That is it. But I think that same logic can be applied to the story itself. There's no need to be like, oh, you know what, we might have to do some fillers here and there, or we might have to we got
Yes.
several arcs that we want to tie between. No, 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 no. We got this story. There's the the three acts of the full story. We're going to tell it in 20 episodes, and we need 20 episodes to do it. We don't need 21. We don't need 19. Just 20 episodes to make sure that we've said everything. And I think that's just a perfect way to do it. And like you say, it might just be a way of going, well, we've got a perfect series here. Once we're done and once we're happy with this, we can get to work on something else. Maybe
You know,
it's
I don't want to say
yeah,
it like I'm
maybe
entitled. I'm just saying. I'm just
no,
saying. I'm
no,
just saying.
no. There's a lot to adapt, and those things that fans were expecting would be adapted next, specifically
Give
from the
me my
manga.
ultra ego. You
Hey,
know,
hey,
go
yeah,
ahead,
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead, go ahead,
That
go ahead.
was their present to be adapted prior to the announcement of Daima. So again, to sort of bring it back to, I'd prefer quality over quantity. I'm hoping that maybe there was a very specific team working on this, and there is another team maybe taking their time, nice and meticulous, nice
Yeah,
and just full of love to put into those manga adaptations of your of the arcs that we're yet to see in motion. So look, hey, maybe that happens. And honestly, I'd be even happy if they just said, you know what, here's another movie that is completely separate, Dragon Ball Super, whatever the case. And honestly, if you want to do the
Dragon
Moro
Ball
arc in a
Super
movie,
Cooler's Revenge.
yay, yeah, yeah. Okay, final question, just because you brought that up, and I hadn't thought about this. Do you think we'll see
What's up?
any returning characters that we haven't seen in ages?
Oh, where? Oof, that is a good one. Returning characters, I could see them making, like we've just emphasized over and over, Deborah making his return.
Yep.
Besides that, I think it's gonna be a whole bunch of characters we just haven't seen. I think, you're
Cool.
saying
Yeah,
you
cool.
don't want them, or you wouldn't expect them to expand on the Supreme Kai lore. I think that they're just gonna make sure they don't go too far into the old database, like the old
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
files, right? Then they're just gonna say, you know what? Everything you're getting from here is gonna be new, and not only is it gonna be new, we're gonna expand upon it over the course of
Yep.
the 20 episodes, and then we're gonna wrap it up, and we're gonna leave them here when Goku and Shin go back.
I like that.
Goku,
Self-contained.
Shin, Vegeta,
Yep.
all the Z fighters when they go back.
Yep. Perfect. I love it. All right. Well, we might wrap that up there. To anyone listening, thank you for listening all the way through. Uh, we have yet to finalize a sort of schedule as to when Mr. Hitman and I will record post each episode. Our time zones are very, very different. Myself being in Australia, he being in the US. Um, at the moment, it might be a couple of days after the episode airs, not only to sort of, which by the way will be at what I think it's 11:15 p.m. Japanese local time. So I might even in the comments below do a little bit of a time converty thing for anyone listening so they can maybe get a better idea of when the episodes might air. But another reason we might take our time to get the episode out is so that we can let our thoughts and opinions breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too reactionary, or I wouldn't mind maybe get seeing on Twitter or any of the other socials little bits and pieces that I may have missed across the weekend. Being that it's a Friday night, especially, let me see a few things that have come up that I may have missed written by other people, and we can go from there. But if you want to sign off, let everyone know where they can find you.
Um, it is the Young King Hitman, and it is the homie Greg Dawes. So if you want to find us, we both have Twitter, we both have Instagram, and of course, you can find us both on YouTube. We appreciate you guys checking in on this podcast. We appreciate the support. By the way, we always appreciate a like, comment, a little subscription. If you want to follow for future episodes, we thank you guys for that. But more importantly, we are so excited for new Dragon Ball content. You guys know how that is. So I'm sure you guys are just as hype as we are, but I'm gonna leave it there and hope you guys once again enjoy. Greg, you got anything left?
Theories. I want everyone's theories in the comments below. If they're different to what we've mentioned in this episode, I want your theories in the comments below. Blow us away. Come up with something different. I want to hear it. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you in a month when Daima airs. I am pumped.
Yeah, I'm lit, man. I'm lit.
All right.
I'm shaking, man. Dragon Ball
Sick.
gets us like that, man. Y'all know how it is. We're fiends, bro. We can't help it.